Welcome everybody. It is Tuesday and you are in the kitchen cooking with Evey. So today, it's a beautiful day outside, so the dish that I have really doesn't take much time to make, and it is a perfect dish to either have as a snack, or if you're having company, it makes a wonderful appetizer. And I'm talking about sweet potato hummus. This dish is one of my signature dishes. I love it. It's a no-fail way to have a good hearty appetizer, especially if you have company coming. It makes a nice presentation. And as you can see, when you pair it with some raw vegetables, it makes for a wonderful rainbow of snacking. The best part about this is it's a great snack if you're trying to eat anti-inflammatory foods as well, because it's very healthy for you. A lot of the ingredients that go into it are naturally anti-inflammatory. Olive oil is one good example. Sweet potatoes is another. As we go through, I'll explain a little bit more about what makes this so good for us and fights inflammation. If you're interested in this is how much I like this recipe. I actually have a little mailer card with the recipe on it. IM me, PM me, put a comment in the section with your address. Do it privately, and I can mail this out to you. I'd love to have it handy. It makes for real good reference when I'm ready to pull it out. But I have made this so many times, I don't even need a recipe. All right, so let's put this to the side, and I'll show you just how to make it, okay? So the first thing we want to do is we want to have our base. Our base is our chickpeas and our sweet potatoes. So I'm going to bake up sweet potatoes for this recipe. Now, if you don't have time to bake up your sweet potato, no worries. You can use canned puree sweet potato. During the fall, I love to make this dish as a pumpkin dip, and I use pumpkin spices. So you can use canned pureed pumpkin as well. Just make sure you don't have pumpkin pie filling, that you have pureed pumpkin, because pumpkin pie filling is filled with sugars. So I'm going to roast my sweet potato in a casserole dish like this. I actually have a silicone liner that I like to use for this purpose. You can use parchment paper as well. Usually I talk about not wanting to peel my sweet potatoes, but because we are going to be pureeing this sweet potato, I am going to peel it. A lot of the fiber and good antioxidants in vegetables and fruits are found out on their skin. So I usually like to keep that in a recipe if I can. This is the exception. The sweet potato is great anti-inflammatory food, as I mentioned. It's high in vitamin C, which is great for our immune system as well. It's also high in beta carotene, which is a precursor for vitamin A, an essential vitamin that we need. So it's always good. But what makes it really anti-inflammatory is the amount of fiber that it contains. Fiber is something that we need to get more of in our diets, especially if you're eating a standard American diet. Fiber helps balance out our microbiome. It helps encourage the healthy microbes in our gut to grow. These microbes then help protect us. They protect our gut lining. They help us efficiently extract more nutrients from the foods that we eat. Did you know that? So, whenever you can, get fiber in your diet. So I just sliced my sweet potato into about 1/2-inch slices, as you can see here. What I like to do at this point is stack 2 or 3 slices, like so, and then just cut down through that stack. I'm going to cut down twice so that I have about 1/2-inch to 1/4-inch sections in this direction. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and then because this is a smaller potato, I'm just going to cut it down once. So the end result is nice, even diced cubes of my sweet potato. The bottom one was a little bit of a bigger circle, so I'm going to cut through again to make those cubes a little bit smaller. My goal is to have them about a ½ inch squared. So let me just show you with one slice here. I'm going to cut through it 2 times in this direction and 1 time in this direction. All right. And you go through to do the entire sweet potato. As I said, you know, there's lots of little tips on this with this recipe. You don't have to do everything from scratch. You can use canned sweet potato or canned pumpkin for this. But truthfully, I love the flavor of the roasted sweet potato even better. So, the other thing about sweet potato and this whole dish is it will actually help with some sugar cravings, because not only is it sweet, the sweet potato in and of itself tastes sweet, but it is low glycemic, which means it doesn't cause a spike in our blood sugar levels, which keeps our blood sugar levels more consistent, keeps us satisfied for longer, and doesn't lead to insulin resistance, which can lead to chronic illnesses such as diabetes. So I now have my chopped cubed sweet potato in my dish. I've set my oven for 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm just going to drizzle probably about 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon of olive oil on top of my sweet potato. Now, what I like to do as a seasoning for this is cumin. I usually don't measure, but I would say if I'm just going to sprinkle this over here. But typically what I would do is use about a teaspoon of cumin. All right, now this is all done. When I'm not doing a cooking show and don't mind getting my hands all dirty, I'll just use my fingers to mix everything up. But just to keep things a little bit neater, I'm just going to mix up and make sure that all the pieces of the sweet potato are coated with that olive oil and the cumin. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt. Now, sweet potatoes, by the way, are very good, high in potassium. Potassium helps balance out the sodium that's in our diet. That's another good reason for adding that sweet potato in. I added some salt, and now I'm going to add some grated pepper. And let's give that another toss. And this now is ready to go into the oven. All right, so let me put this aside, get that into the oven. This is going to roast for about 40-45 minutes. Sometimes what I like to do is take another Silpat, the silicone mat or parchment if you have it, and lay it on top so that the sweet potato stays moist as it's roasting. So I'm going to go do that right now. All right. So what I'll usually do is put it in 20 minutes, stir it up a little bit, put it in for another 15 minutes, take a look and see if it's done. I know it's done if it's nice and moist and browning on the outside a little bit. I don't want it to brown too much because I'm going to be making it into a puree. So while that is cooking, remember I said there are some shortcuts that you can do with this recipe that makes it really quick and easy. And one of them is to use canned garbanzo beans or chickpeas. I actually had a bag of dried garbanzo beans that I cooked up. So as you can see, there's a lot of beans here. I'm going to use about 2 cups of garbanzo beans. You can use about 1 3/4 to 2 cups. That's about a can's worth of garbanzo beans. So what I'm going to do is, let me just add these in to my food processor here. So that's 1 and 2. I like to make sure that my garbanzo beans are nice and soft so that they blend up nice and creamy. And by the magic of video, here are my sweet potatoes already done. All right, so this is how you want them to look. All right, nice. You can see there's a little bit of brown on them, but they're nice and soft. Trust me, they're nice and soft. And I'm going to add those in as well. So now I have my base for my hummus. Hummus, basically, a basic plain hummus is just chickpeas, tahini, which is sesame seeds. Sesame seeds are also great anti-inflammatory foods, or a great anti-inflammatory food for us. Chickpeas, hummus, garlic, yum, and lemon juice. A little bit of salt and pepper, or any kind of seasonings that you want. But that is the basis for a hummus. I'm adding in the benefit of the cumin, another anti-inflammatory spice, and the sweet potato. All the good, healthy things that those add in. So I have those two ingredients in now, 2 cups chickpeas, 1 diced sweet potato. I am going to add in some lemon juice now. Now, remember I said, little quick tips. If you don't have time or the inclination to squeeze out a lemon, you can use bottled. I like to get organic bottled lemon juice if I'm using it, and I'm not against doing that, but I do like the flavor, especially for a dish like this, that of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And as you saw, I was rolling my lemon to soften it on the countertop here. I also like to keep them at room temperature because that helps release the juices. Another thing that helps release the juices is to take a fork and just start breaking up some of those juice cells. I don't know if you can see, but I'm already getting some drops of juice coming out. And then just squeeze it. Now, I want to use, if I get about 1/4 of a cup of lemon juice. Sometimes 1 lemon has 1/4 cup in it. And I'm going to measure it out and we'll see. If not, I will cut another half lemon to add that in. But we're shooting for 1/4 cup. All right. Lemons, a lot of vitamin C. Again, very anti-inflammatory, good for us. Vitamin C is also great for the immune system, keeping us healthy. Oh, that was a good amount of lemon juice. All right, let's see how we did. All right, let's see. Oh, a perfect 1/4 cup. All right. Doesn't always work that well, but in this case, maybe it knew I was on a video, so made sure that it was going to release enough for me. So we have a 1/4 cup now of our lemon juice. Now, I also mentioned tahini. Tahini is ground up sesame seeds. And for this, I want 1/3 of a cup of the tahini. The way I remember the amounts is, I always remember that I want a little bit more tahini, because I like tahini, than the lemon. So I'm adding in 1/3. Now this tahini is nice and creamy and pourable. Sometimes you might have to spoon it out. Yum. I love tahini with, as a snack with apples. You know, much like you might put peanut butter in apples or almond butter in apples. Tahini for me. Ooh, yum. And so good for us. And again, I always mention variety. You want to just mix it up. Don't always have tahini. Have almond butter or have cashew butter. Mix it up because they all have different healthy ingredients for us. So I now have these ingredients added in. I want to add in 1 garlic clove. You could just chop this up. In fact, I think I will do that. I was going to mince it, but because we're going to be pureeing it in the food processor, it'll be very easy for me to do a rough chop of my garlic clove. Again, Short on time, if you have pre-chopped garlic, by all means, use it. All right, I'm going to add in that garlic clove. All right, and then just at the end, I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of olive oil, just for good measure. All right, so I mentioned that there was a lot of fiber in the sweet potato. Chickpeas also has a lot of fiber in it. And fiber helps with those blood sugar levels, as I mentioned, as well. It also, in the chickpeas, it helps the microbiome produce something called butyrate. And butyrate is actually a natural substance that helps condition and keep the digestive system, the intestines, healthy, that lining of the intestines, those cells, healthy. So we want to have foods that gives us the butyrate. All right, so I am just letting this blend up now. I will check through my ingredients. So I'm checking, I have my sweet potatoes in there. That's 1 sweet potato, 2 cups of cooked chickpeas. It could be canned or you can cook your own. I had 1/3 cup of the tahini, 1/4 cup of the lemon juice. I had about a tablespoon of olive oil, a clove of garlic. I'm going to add in maybe a little bit of salt and pepper. Again, I did put a little bit on the sweet potatoes to begin with, so I don't really need that much. Maybe like a scant 1/4 teaspoon. I can always add more, but I do like to add more of the black pepper. Now, something that's fun to do too is, if you like, you could add, I've done this before too, add a little bit of cumin. If you have cumin with black pepper helps the body absorb the cumin. Cumin, again, great anti-inflammatory spice that also helps support the liver. All right, so you're doing a couple of good things. So who knew having a snack was going to be so healthy for you, right? Now, I can see that this is going to be a little bit thick. Let me show you what it looks like. All right, you can see it's almost like the consistency of a dough. I want to make it a little bit creamier. So what I do when I cook my chickpeas is I reserve a little bit of the cooking liquid. Now, there's a name for this. It's called aquafaba. It actually will blend up and make almost like a whipped cream. So a lot of vegetarians or vegans will use this in place of eggs cream for whipping cream for dessert. All right, so let's check the consistency of this. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit more liquid. I probably added about 2 tablespoons before. I'm going to add in another tablespoon here, and I'm just going to let that whip up. Now, depending on the consistency you like, you can add or subtract the amount of liquid that you put in. You may find you don't need to. Ah, this is perfect. All right, I like that. Let me just show you the kind of the consistency of that. Can you see that now? It's nice and creamy. I'm going to let it go another second here, just to smooth out a little bit. I'm going to go grab a dish. All right, so here it is, about 20 minutes, and it's done. Now, remember I said there are some quick tips that you can do to make this quick and easy to do by getting canned or pre-chopped ingredients. So let me spoon out. So some people might even like their tahini a little bit even smoother, creamier than this. Just add more of that aquafaba. There's even a Facebook page dedicated to aquafaba. Who knew, right? All the different things that you can do to make your food healthier. And I would imagine that there's a lot of the nutrients that cook out of the beans that then are in that water, the aquafaba there. So what you can do at this point is you could sprinkle this with an herb, a spice. Sometimes I put sumac over it. If you want a little heat in your hummus, you can always add a little bit of paprika or cayenne. That would be great as well. All right, I'm just going to leave it just like so. And again, for presentation, go for variety. Add in those colors, right? I have some homemade seed crackers here that I love. I've got some different colored carrots. I have cucumbers. Bell peppers are good. Celery is perfect as well. I even have some pea pods from my garden and some radishes. Radishes are actually really good with hummus. Grab a little bit. Yum. Oh my gosh. So good. All right. I hope you get a chance to make this. If you would like, I can send you a copy of the recipe. Just private message me with your address, and I'll mail it out to you. It's like the old-fashioned way. Who knew? Otherwise, you can find this recipe on my website. My website, I have a page of recipes, all anti-inflammatory. There's a tab there that is just specifically all of the recipes that I've done with Cooking with Evey in my show. I've been doing this now for almost 2 years. I started when the pandemic hit, and I just keep going. So if you have any suggestions of recipes that you'd like to see, or if you have a recipe that you'd like to switch up, maybe make it a little bit healthier, but don't know how, by all means, PM me, and I can help you out with that. I love doing that. One of the things I do is make up menus for, or suggested menus for individuals. If you go to my web page, I also have pre-done programs where you cook on Sunday and you have your meals for the rest of the week. All right. Hope you get to try, take a look. It's a new website, all reconfigured. I'm really proud of it. Let me know what you think. All right. Until next week, I will see you then. I hope you get a chance to make this delicious recipe. If you do, please let me know. Let me know what you think about it. All right. Take care now. Have a great day. Bye-bye for now.